Okay, hello. We are back for some more Morpho. We left off at page 47, so we're almost at the halfway point, y'all. Pretty crazy, pretty crazy. Okay, we got some stuff to read here, so let's get into that. The deltoid and pectoral blending into each other. Drape the shoulder. Only the deltoid is shown here, so let me move the microphone. So if we go back to figure 3, the deltoid and pectoral blending into each other drape the shoulder. So this would be figure 3 right here, and as you can see, it's like this like kind of wraps around. This is like the pec, and then the deltoid's like right here. They basically drape over the shoulder. And then only the deltoid is shown here in figure 4. So that's like the deltoid construction. Alright, so let's get it in. I'm just going to start here and work my way across. So, hope everybody's been enjoying this series so far. And then you'd have like a light ball here that kind of represents that. So I guess like try to just imagine that this whole thing, you know, the shoulder and pec basically are just kind of like wrapped around this whole thing. Right, and this just like kind of how we've been doing it, right? We've got that back muscle back here, like just try to remember that this is like connected to, this connects the deltoid and everything to that like egg shape. So we've got, I don't know, these are weird kind of representations of that. But we'll just draw it anyway. Got that. All right. And that. Okay, let's get this guy drawn in here. Try to fit it in right about there. Construction. Don't draw first. I'm drawing here. I'm drawing here. Sorry. So let's get that construction laid in first. I really am trying to stay on topic here. but I'm about to start watching some Dustin Hoffman movies. And I think I'm going to start with that one. Cool. Really got to get this shape down for the body. Like I mean, like I've said, like this shape right here, for whatever reason, it gives me so much trouble. Really don't understand why, but it does. I don't know. It's just always been a. If you ever look through any of my sketchbooks, if I ever do any sketchbook tours, you're gonna see so much torso stuff in there. The torso just gives me, I don't know, it just really psychs me out. I don't know. Alright, so we got the construction in here. Let's get this in. Does that happen to anyone else? Does anyone else got like a body part that they're just like, I think I just overthink it too much? Interesting style of shading right here. Okay. We'll do like these two right here because I can fit them right here. Again, right? I mean, I don't know. Like, I leave it up to you guys. If you want to keep but also, like, look at how far away, say this is like your neck. Like, you have quite a bit of distance here, especially when these arms are moved up. We've got that little space. And then we're starting to see a little bit more of the musculature. I guess to try to remember that there's like two muscles here, 1 and 2, like on the outside. Like maybe I guess you could just connect and just say this is one, but it really looks like, again, because this is like wrapping around this, that there's always going to be a little bit of a bump here, and then there's like another muscle here, which I believe is like your, this might be in like an oblique situation, because I think this connects to like, you know, these are your serratus, right, and then this would all be like your abs. But yeah, I think for me, I'm just gonna write a mental note here that there's like 1, 2, like, because this is connecting around, and then this is like the muscle that's underneath this, like your arm. So just a good thing to kind of keep in mind. I think we can maybe fit this stuff up here. I don't know if we can fit it. We'll try. It might have to just be really tiny. So let's see what happens. Yeah, I think we can fit it. So, got that clavicle to the pec. And as you can kind of see, right, like the pec, there's like a part of it that kind of drags. So you have like this major part right here, which is like, this is the pec, and then this is like your deltoid. And then you've got the arm, but then remember that spacing here. And then we've got that other muscle that I'm just gonna guess is just helping the movement of the arm. And then again, we've got that second muscle down here, because this is basically like wrapping around. So very cool. All right. Moving on to page 48. We're over here now. Had to start a new book of paper. I was gonna get like a dedicated sketchbook to this, but again, this is just practice, right? Like I don't need to make it cool, if that makes sense. Like, or not cool, but just like, let's just get it. It's just practice. Like there's no, this doesn't need to be presented very beautifully. Right, like there doesn't need to be like a beautiful anatomy sketchbook that I have, because there's no point for that, right? It's like everything that we're doing in this book is to aid in creating better art. The practice itself is just a means to an end to aid that, right? Because again, you know, we're here to make stuff, not here to. We're here to make stuff, not take stuff, break stuff. I don't know. I'm gonna get this construction. I'm gonna do this construction first, and then I think I'm gonna draw this over top. Right? Because as you can see, right, I just kind of just copied what I saw. But this stuff right here really. This is really the meat and potatoes, if you will. All right. This belt thing, I'm still trying to get used to the idea of, like this whole part right here being like this kind of belt. That's what they described it. as, and I really don't see that. I just kind of see it as like this stuff right here is just kind of like mesh, whereas like this and this are like hard. And this like where like your abs and everything are, I feel like it's like just like this stuff helps to aid the movement of these two. Okay. Let's just actually just draw this. I'm just gonna draw it. I guess we could. That would be kind of a little bit of a waste of time, but we'll just draw right on top of this. How about that? And we're gonna confidently draw. We're not gonna scribble. Been scribbling a little bit here. So we've got looks like you can still see a little bit of that spacing in between the pec. And then it also looks like the breast really rubs up against. I'm pretty 90% sure this is an oblique, because in boxing this is like where your power kind of comes from. So you twist those obliques, you know. If you're not moving your obliques, you're not generating power. And we've got 1, 2, 3, 4. So we got some big bumps here. We got 1, 2, 3, 4 big bumps, just to kind of always be conscious of. This is where all your abs are. So all this would be abs. Down here is where it gets interesting, right? Because there is this like weird kind of bump. Oh yeah, and then we have also, I believe this is also an oblique. Right here. Got another bump that happens. But yes, there's this like, I guess this is probably where your hip bone pops out at. Jesus Christ. Computer's gonna die. Hold up. There we go. So yeah, that was pretty cool. Let's do this guy. Do some construction here. So even when you're seeing this, right, just use this stuff to kind of like use what you've learned so far about the construction, right? Just to kind of guess. And actually, looks like I drew this wrong. Looks like it's more like this pelvis is tilting down. That's another thing to always kind of remember. Pelvis is always going to be tilted, kind of like that. So I think I roughly got it here. I feel pretty good about that. Just as long as you know, when you do your like pelvis box, as long as you can kind of see the bottom, you know you've done it correct. And then we've got this, if we were to do the X method here, this would be where that would pop out. Right. Okay, so our spine looks like it curves in and curves out. So in, and then spine comes out. Okay, we've got that roundedness, and then remember this wraps around, but it looks like it kind of goes really down, and then we've got this tiny bit of breast there showing. Whew, pretty cool. Okay, let's do this construction here. Got a nice line of action first, then we'll get in there. I always just kind of, especially if there's no head there, it's really great. You just kind of start with the biggest piece. So remember that tilt. It really looks like it's kind of like this. That can't be possible, so it's got to be like this. Right, because this whole thing is jutting forward. And almost like there's like a twist because you can still see a little bit of the back here. Okay. So let's go ahead and just clean that up a little bit. Uh-oh. It's mechanical pencil rules, but it does give me a lot of agita. I feel like I'm like flying through lead lately. I think that means I've just been putting in some work. Okay. Got some contour lines here. And then we've got that right there. There could be more space here. Okay. We get to see a little bit more of this backside here, of this torso. And then we're really seeing, you know, two sides of this. And then we've got some abs happening here. I think maybe like a good rule of thumb is that this bottom section bigger, up here smaller. Okay. Then we've got the butte right there. Cool. How much time we got? Oh, yeah, we're kind of flying. We'll knock this guy out as well, or this gal, because there's a really nice twist happening, and I think if you can get some practice in on that stuff, you can really add dynamics to your bodies if you can start to implement that twist. See, I always want to start with the head. I don't know why. I think because the head is just, it's very important. But I really want to switch that to just going torso first. And then again. See, like, I feel like this is just good old square practice, right? You can get some square practice in, like if you're like, I'm tired of drawing a room full of cubes, right? Get some cube practice in your anatomy session. Kind of draw through to get that part right there. Okay, let's stay up here for a second. And then this really just, you're really only seeing one side of this torso. Okay. Uh-oh. I'm not drawing confidently. God damn it. Hold on. Sorry about that. Delivery guy. Delivery people come to my house or my apartment and they always ring my bell, and it's never for my shit. It's for someone else's shit. So it's very annoying, which is why I'm cursing right now. Because it's just like, ring that motherfucker's bell, man. Why are you ringing my fucking bell? Like, I'm doing shit. I feel like this is like behind the scenes with like Mr. Rogers. I'm just like, beforehand, I'm just like, yeah, guys, you know, we're really working on that torso here, and you know, things are going pretty great over here in the neighborhood. And then it's like, motherfucker. Cool. I'm gonna make this a little bit bigger. All right, so we've got on page 49, holy crap, we're almost at the halfway point. The scapula or shoulder blade is a triangular platform of bone. It serves as the insertion zone for several of the shoulder muscles, and it follows all the movements of the arm. The scapula tilts when the arm is raised. So this is your scapula. That's what they're talking about. Looks like pretty much like the top pretty much follows wherever the arm's gonna go, right? I guess like you could even, you know what I mean? Like, cause this look right here, it's like this isn't really moving up, even though this arm is moving down. And like right here, I mean, this is like kind of moving up, but it's mostly like you're seeing that movement here, like at the top, right? All right, so we kind of put that in as like the reminder. So let's start with, you know, first one we see. I think for your scapula, you can just kind of just draw like that. See? Or you can even kind of break this down into just like an S. That kind of S curve. And you got one back here as well. Kind of drew a big one, but it's all good. Still looks good. Then we've got another curve down here for the genital region. So a lot of curves. But anyway, like, you know, this is your scap. I'm going to call it just scap. And it moves, so let's say that, you know, it's moving because it's moving up. So it also moves up. We've got a little bit of room up here, so I'm going to do this guy right here. Not really going to worry about that head so much. Just kind of working on the information here. And then we've got a really interesting tilt of the pelvis here. This, I'm listening to, I forget this guy's name, but he's like an electronic guy. You probably can't really hear it in the background, but his songs just like abruptly stop. They don't like fade out. And it makes me think that someone's like calling me. So then I turn every time the song is done, because it literally just cuts off. So it'll be like chill hop-ish kind of stuff, and then all of a sudden it just goes boom, just cuts off, and then the next song plays. But my phone does that if someone's calling me. So anyway, top line, right? I guess you could even say like this top line can almost be like an arrow, right? Because as you can see, it's pointing towards where that arm is going. Another thing that I'm kind of noticing here too is that this stuff right here is kind of melting, almost like melting over this pelvis shape. I'm gonna do this guy. And again, right, like I'm kind of speed rushing this because I mean, I feel bad that these videos are pretty long, but the information is I don't know, you're basically seeing this in real time. Like this isn't edited at all. Like I'm learning in real time here. So, and I'm doing that basically to be like, you know, this is what it takes, man. Ain't no fancy speed ups or nothing like that. So this one's a little bit tougher, right? Because like you really can't, like technically, I guess our rule kind of gets thrown out. But I guess like since this is like a lean, this would be like a character kind of leaning forward here. I guess that's what's happening. Is that since this guy's like leaning forward, I guess, so now this is moving up. Since this is moving up and then this arm is moving down. Very interesting. I think, just try to remember, like, because this is like the only part of the scapula that you're really going to be able to see, even with muscle tacked onto it, as we can see over here. Just try to, I guess, be conscious that it's gonna poke out some. So I'm just gonna do a big circle for the construction of my scapula and then kind of fill in that info. Looks like that pelvis is going to be In box shape, it's going to be like that. Cool. So now let's start to kind of construct over top of this. So it really looks like the top of this deltoid, or this trapeze scapula, I'm sorry, is kind of can just be a straight line, right? And then as you can see, it kind of spills over top of this conal shape that your arm is going to be making. And then I guess another thing too, right, is like you have this egg shape, but there's still, like, because there's ribs here, right? So there's still like a pop out right around here. Like, once you start putting skin over top of this and muscle, it really kind of loses a little bit of that egg shape, it seems. Cool. We'll do this guy as well, just because, hey, more practice. And I'm really just going to focus on here, just for time's sake. So now we've got some more bumps happening here. So looks like let's try to like construct that first. Almost seems like there's this, 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 this. All right, before we kind of start drawing, making that cool drawing, right? So we've got some bumps happening. So we've got bump. Got a bump like that, and then it looks like you got some kind of contours happening here. Looks like this is like almost split. Oh shit, hold up. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4. So it should be 1, 2, 3, 4. Right. Like that. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and this is just like the tail end of that down there. You know, obviously you can shorten that to being like, you know, it can be just like a couple. And then we're just gonna do here. So why not? Someone kind of like leaning back. So I'm guessing the pelvis would be kind of like that. Then we've got scapula, so I don't forget, because I want to call it the trapezius muscle for some odd reason, but it definitely ain't that. And then the breast is really low here. So I'm just going to get that in there. Cool. And then again, connects like this. Honestly, it's, you know, if you want to construct it, you could say it's just a square and then you kind of turn it into something like this. And see right here in this example, like you can really, I guess like on females, you probably just want to kind of go with something simpler like this, like where it's just two separations here for that scapula. All right, we made it halfway through, folks. We're on page 50. Okay, so simplified representation of the spinal column is figure 1, right there. See, it goes in, out, or I guess in and then out, yeah. Figure 2, these spinal muscles run all along the column, so this is like your column, I guess, largely covering it from the pelvis to the skull. So all like these muscles here, like basically cover that spine. Oh shit, I'm sorry. So all this stuff, like see this like 1, 2 right here, that's just covering your spine. The oblique muscles, hey, we were right, occupy the flank or side area. Flank, get that out of your head. I don't know what the hell that means. I guess, yeah, flanking means coming from the side, so yeah, you can use it. But it just means side. And it is the obliques. So, we were right. I was right. You guys were wrong. So let's get some of that in, and then I think that'll take us right to the end of today's warm-up. It's so funny you have to learn all this stuff and then just cover it, like cover it up with muscles, and you have to cover up those muscles with clothing. So I guess the really true way to kind of get better at anatomy would be to literally create a comic or an animation where you're just drawing cavemen. Cavemen, or like Conan. I feel like Conan, if you were doing like a Conan series, just because it's like loincloths and stuff and mostly just like muscle, like you'd by the end of that book you'd be freaking amazing at drawing anatomy. So there you go. I mean, or you you can do my buddy Tyrell Cannon. Shout out to the Cannon. Tyrell. He did a book called Eris, and I secretly think that was him trying to get some anatomy practice in, because all those characters are basically naked. They just have like metal plating over like their private parts. And I want to say, I feel like this was like, obviously he's a sci-fi guy, but I was like, I really feel like he was just trying to get some some anatomy practice in. And not that he needed it or anything, but I think like maybe he, I don't want to put, words in Tyrell's mouth or anything, but like that's like definitely like a good way to be like, maybe I'm not that great at like anatomy. Like I'll just make sure that I'm drawing basically naked characters, and all the anatomy in that book is amazing. Like he absolutely crushes it. So if you never read Eris by Tyrell, definitely go check it out, and maybe plan something like that for when you want to get some practice in. Because like I said, right, like doing all this and then covering it up with like clothing, you're kind of like, all right, well, I did a lot of work, and then all the work's gone. Do like a Conan 8-pager. There's little ways to trick yourself into getting some practice in. And honestly, like making a product out of it, it's kind of the easiest way because then you're gonna get it done. All right, so got that scapula. So I guess, you know, these are pointing down and then the arm. The arm, so the scapula, it looks like the scapula, it kind of moves independent, but the arm is really able to move independent. So I guess it just helps to support that that movement, that independent movement of the arm. But as you can see, like the arm can still move pretty independent of that. And I don't really think the scapula is really gonna move much. But maybe. We'll have to unfortunately do some figure drawing to really lock in those concepts. And I don't mind figure drawing, it's just kind of boring. I don't know. My one buddy like loves it. He's just like, he gets amped on doing some figure drawing. And I can hang. Don't get me wrong, I can definitely hang in a figure drawing session. I'm not one of those people that's gonna get like frustrated. You'll see that. You'll see a lot of people kind of like diddly daddling like around like that last hour, you know, where you're just like, oh jeez. But one thing that helps with figure drawing is good model. You need a good model. If you got a lazy model that's just like sitting, laying down, I hate that crap. That crap makes me so mad. I've never like reported it, but I do respect when the older artists in the room will go up to like the moderator and be like, hey, like, can you tell her to not do that? Or can you tell him to like stand? Like, you know, like what is this? Like I'm like, we're drawing someone sleeping right now? Like that crap is annoying when you get a bad figure model. I did, however, tell one lady, there was one woman where I had like some rapport with, but she was basically like kind of bragging about, she was like, I'm doing figure modeling, it's like the easiest paycheck I've ever done, all I have to do is just like lay around and people draw me. And I was like, hey, like you should like take that seriously, because you know, everyone in class is like trying to learn. And like if you're just like being lazy, and you're gonna kill morale. Like morale tanks when there's like a crappy figure model in the class. Like, you know, like they don't care, like why should I care? This is boring. Like, you know what I mean? You need someone there that's like really into it, really enjoys you know, the idea of being drawn, really enjoys holding poses and like sees it as like a challenge. You need that. Otherwise, it's just like, yo, dog, I'm not tipping you at the very least. Like, you didn't do anything. You sit there and, oh man, I've had some bad ones. I used to work at a school, and we were allowed to take, you know, a class every semester, and luckily, like, I was cool with everybody, so people would just let me just take all of the any classes I basically want. So I was always just like in these figure drawing classes in the morning, and man, there'd be some bad models in there. I remember this one time, but there's also bad, it's, you know, it's mostly older people that are doing figure drawing sessions, and those people can get pretty ornery. But there's this one figure model who came in one time. She was amazing. She put on like a soundtrack. She put on like
I forget what it was. The Call Me by Your Name soundtrack. She put that on, and it was just brought the energy, man. Like she really just brought the energy up. And then people complain because they're all old people and like they like to, this particular group like to just draw in silence. I got yelled at one time by a figure model because she could hear my music in my headphones. Yeah, so it was just not a good place to do figure drawing at. It just shows you people suck. Okay, so let's get this figure 2 drawn in here. What's that Slipknot song? People equal shit. Truer words have never been uttered. Do you guys remember when MGK and Slipknot's frontman Corey Taylor were going at it? I was a little bit mad at MGK because I was just like, dude, you kind of seem like a turncoat. Because you're just like, you were a rapper for forever, and then you're like, now I'm like the king of pop punk. Which, shout out to you, you know what I mean? Like now there's like a little bit of hindsight behind that. I'm like, dude, you know, you know what? Do your thing, brother. Like, if you're like, hey, no one really respects me as a rapper, so I'm gonna switch genres and kind of dominate. I mean, I think he's doing pretty well as like a pop punk guy. He ain't going back to rapping, I'm pretty sure, so. But the thing that made me mad was he was like, yeah, at least I'm not like a 40-year-old guy on stage wearing a mask. It's like, yeah, you kind of are, dude. Because you definitely weren't no pop punk guy before, so now you're wearing like this whole pop punk outfit. Like you're kind of basically doing Slipknot. At least those guys are like owning it, you know? Alright, cool. So let's get these last couple drawings in, and then we'll get the heck out of here. We'll probably stop talking about music drama. I love music drama. Cool. This looks like to be just more scapula practice. Pretty cool. We'll get this complicated guy in here, because you gotta do it. Let's see if we can fit him in. I think we can. Maybe not. Let's just do it down here just to be safe. So, you know, very rarely are you seeing a straight line down like that. Sometimes I do it just to kind of then go over top of that straight line with a curved line. Ah, crap. There we go. So let's get that construction in. guess we can make this a little bit wider. Find that middle. So the bottom of this spine goes in. The rest of the spine goes out and in. Just like that. It's like your pelvis bone kind of poking out here. That. Got that. Let's get that hand in. Basically, when you're drawing that hand, man, especially when you're constructing like that, it's really just kind of repeating those same shapes, just smaller and smaller. Okay. After this, I'm gonna go eat some breakfast because all I've had today was le cerise for breakfast. It's cherries in French. I think I said it right. I'm pretty sure it's le cerise, not la cerise. But I could be wrong. And often am wrong. All right, we got a minute left. Let's see if we can bust out these last two drawings, and then we'll get the heck out of here. Because we got some real drawing to do today. Interesting. So you're basically like splitting up the back into 1, 2, 3, 4 sections. All this is 1, 2, 3, 4 sections. I don't know if I'm gonna like really implement that, but it's good to know. And then down here, and I guess these scapulas, right? I guess what you can say about them is that they do follow along the same arc, typically, I guess. I'm sure there's an exception to that, but... And then this part of the scapula seems to run, like, directionally with this egg shape that you're establishing. All right, so there's that. I think I can bust this last guy out in like a minute. See what we can do. We'll just focus on the torso action. And here again, here's an exception right to that rule. So the scapula is going this way. And then they've got that twist. Okay, so here, he, or the person, whoever drew this book, has separated the back into two sections now. Awesome. Cool. All right, y'all. We leave off at, we're going to start at page 52 tomorrow. Hope you guys have been enjoying this series so far. And I'll see you then. Peace.